Have you ever walked through a forest, meadow, or riverbank and unknowingly stepped past food that once kept entire communities alive? Long before supermarkets, imported fruit, and neatly labeled produce aisles, native foragers relied on wild fruits growing all around them. These fruits weren't rare curiosities, they were staples. Sweet, tart, nourishing, and deeply connected to the land. Today, many of them are forgotten, dismissed as weeds, or ignored entirely. But they deserve a comeback. Not just for nostalgia, for resilience, nutrition, and reconnecting with nature. Here are 10 forgotten fruits native foragers once harvested that absolutely need to return to our gardens, landscapes, and plates. 1. Pawpaw. The pawpaw is the largest native fruit in North America, yet it remains one of the most overlooked treasures of the continent. Long before supermarkets and imported produce, indigenous tribes relied on pawpaws as a vital seasonal food source. This remarkable fruit looks unassuming on the outside, but inside it hides a soft, custard-like flesh with a flavor profile that feels almost tropical, a blend of banana, mango, melon, and hints of vanilla. For people living thousands of miles from the tropics, pawpaw was a rare and valuable source of sweetness and calories. Pawpaw trees naturally grow in rich forest understories, along riverbanks and near streams, forming dense groves through root suckers. This made them easy to locate and harvest year after year. Native foragers would eat the fruit fresh during late summer and early fall, when food abundance was critical for winter preparation. In some regions, pawpaw pulp was dried or mixed with other foods to extend its shelf life. The fruit is rich in carbohydrates, vitamin C, magnesium, potassium, and antioxidants, making it both filling and nourishing. One of the pawpaw's greatest strengths is its resilience. Unlike modern fruit trees bred for appearance and shipping durability, pawpaws evolved entirely within North American ecosystems. They resist many pests and diseases naturally, partly due to compounds in their leaves and bark that deter insects. Their flowers are pollinated by native beetles and flies rather than bees, reflecting an ancient evolutionary relationship that modern agriculture often ignores. Despite all these advantages, pawpaws never became a commercial fruit. Their thin skin bruises easily and the fruit ripens quickly, making it unsuitable for long-distance shipping. As a result, they faded from mainstream agriculture, not because they lack flavor or value, but because they don't fit industrial systems. Today, rediscovering pawpaws offers a powerful reminder that some of the best foods are local, resilient, and deeply rooted in the land. Bringing pawpaws back into home gardens and food forests reconnects us with a forgotten native abundance hiding in plain sight. 2. Serviceberry. Serviceberries, also known as juneberries, shadbush, or Saskatoon berries, were once among the most important fruits for indigenous peoples across North America. These small, purple-blue berries resemble blueberries, but often have a richer, more complex flavor with notes of almond or apple due to their tiny edible seeds. They ripen in early summer, often becoming one of the first sweet fruits available after a long winter, making them especially valuable to native foragers. Indigenous communities harvested serviceberries in large quantities. The berries were eaten fresh, sun-dried into raisin-like snacks, or mashed and mixed with dried meat and fat to create pemmican, a high-energy food that could last for months or even years. Nutritionally, serviceberries are exceptional. They are packed with antioxidants, iron, fiber, vitamin C, and natural sugars, providing both quick energy and long-term nourishment. Beyond their fruit, serviceberry trees offered beauty and reliability. They are incredibly adaptable, thriving in cold climates, tolerating drought, poor soil, and harsh winds. This made them dependable in regions where other fruit trees struggled. In spring, they produce clouds of delicate white blossoms. In summer, glossy green leaves frame ripening berries. In fall, the foliage turns brilliant shades of red, orange, and gold. Few plants offer such year-round value. As agriculture shifted toward large-scale monocultures and imported fruits, serviceberries slowly disappeared from food landscapes and were relegated mostly to ornamental use. Many people now recognize the tree but have no idea its fruit is edible, or that it once sustained entire communities. Unlike fragile modern crops, serviceberries require minimal care, no chemical inputs, and coexist beautifully with wildlife, supporting birds and pollinators alike. Reviving serviceberries is more than bringing back a fruit. It's restoring a forgotten relationship with the land. They represent food security, resilience, and harmony with nature. In a time when gardeners seek low maintenance, climate-resilient plants, service berries stand as a perfect example of how ancient wisdom still holds the answers we're searching for today. 3. American persimmon. Long before Asian persimmon varieties appeared in orchards and grocery stores, the American persimmon was one of the most cherished native fruits across large parts of North America. Growing wild from the Midwest to the Southeast, this tree offered an incredible reward to those who understood its rhythm. When fully ripe, American persimmons transform into one of nature's sweetest treats. Rich, silky flesh with flavors often described as honey, dates, caramel, and warm brown sugar, all rolled into one. Native foragers knew an important secret. Timing was everything. Unripe persimmons are famously astringent, causing an intense mouth-drying sensation that can be unforgettable in the worst way. But once the fruits are fully mature, and often after the first frost of autumn, they soften, darken, and become extraordinarily sweet. This patience was well worth it. Fully ripe persimmons were eaten fresh straight from the tree, mashed into thick pastes, baked into breads and puddings, or dried for winter storage. Beyond their flavor, American persimmons were valued for their reliability. These trees are incredibly tough. They tolerate drought, poor or rocky soils, heat, and neglect better than most cultivated fruit trees. Once established, they require little maintenance and can live for generations, producing heavy crops year after year. Their deep root systems help them survive where apples, peaches, or pears would fail. Ecologically, the American persimmon plays an important role. Its fruits feed wildlife such as deer, raccoons, foxes, birds, and even box turtles. Its flowers support native pollinators, and its wood was historically used for tools, golf club heads, and other durable items. Despite all this, the fruit fell out of favor because it doesn't ship well and ripens unevenly. Traits that don't fit industrial agriculture but make it perfect for home growers and foragers. Today, the American persimmon stands as a reminder that some of the sweetest abundance isn't found in orchards or stores, but quietly growing along roadsides, forest edges, and old fields, waiting for those willing to slow down and learn its ways. 4. Beach plum. Along the windswept coastlines of the northeastern United States, tucked into sandy dunes and scrubby seaside thickets, grows one of the most overlooked native fruits, the beach plum. For indigenous coastal communities, this rugged little plum was an essential seasonal harvest, providing flavor, nutrition, and variety in an environment where farming was often difficult. Beach plums are small, round, and deep purple to nearly black when ripe, often covered with a dusty blue bloom. Their flavor is bold and complex, intensely tart with a rich, fruity depth that shines when cooked. While they can be eaten fresh by those who enjoy sharp flavors, they truly excel in preserves. Native foragers and early settlers alike quickly learned that beach plums make exceptional jams, jellies, sauces, and syrups, with a taste far more complex than standard cultivated plums. What makes beach plums especially remarkable is where they thrive. These shrubs grow in sandy, nutrient-poor soils blasted by salt spray and battered by coastal winds. They are naturally salt-tolerant, drought-resistant, and incredibly hardy. Their extensive root systems help stabilize dunes and prevent erosion, making them valuable not just as a food source, but as a protector of fragile coastal ecosystems. Historically, beach plums were harvested in large quantities, and entire local food traditions developed around them. As coastal development expanded and wild landscapes were cleared, beach plum populations declined, and the fruit slowly faded from common knowledge. Unlike commercial plums, beach plums ripen unevenly and vary widely in size and flavor, which made them unsuitable for large-scale agriculture, but perfect for small-scale harvesting and home use. In today's changing climate, beach plums may be more important than ever. Rising sea levels, increased storms, and salty soils are challenging conventional crops, while beach plums continue to thrive under these exact conditions. They offer an edible solution for coastal resilience, producing food where little else can grow. Reviving beach plums isn't just about rediscovering a forgotten fruit. It's about reconnecting with landscapes that once fed people sustainably, learning from nature's own design, and recognizing that some of the most valuable crops are the ones that ask for almost nothing in return. 5. Chokecherry. Despite its somewhat off-putting name, The chokecherry was one of the most vital and widely used wild fruits among Native American tribes across North America. Long before modern orchards existed, chokecherry trees provided a reliable and abundant food source in regions where few cultivated fruits could survive. The fruit itself is small and dark, ranging from deep red to nearly black, and grows in dense clusters that can be harvested in large quantities when ripe. Eaten raw, chokecherries are extremely tart and astringent, enough to make your mouth pucker instantly. However, indigenous foragers understood that this intensity was not a flaw, but a feature. When cooked, dried, or fermented, chokecherries transform dramatically. Heat breaks down their harsh tannins, revealing deep, wine-like flavors with earthy, almond-like notes from the pits. Traditionally, the fruits were crushed whole, skins, flesh, and pits together, then dried into dense cakes. These cakes were shelf-stable, nutrient-rich, and could last for months or even years. One of the most important uses of chokecherry was in pemmican, a high-energy survival food made by combining dried meat, fat, and fruit. The chokecherry added acidity, flavor, and natural preservatives, making pemmican a perfectly balanced food for long journeys and harsh winters. This practice highlights just how central chokecherry was to indigenous food systems. It wasn't just a snack, but a cornerstone of survival. From an ecological perspective, chokecherry is exceptionally resilient. It grows across a massive geographic range, from open plains and river valleys to foothills and mountain slopes. It tolerates extreme cold, drought, poor soils, and strong winds, making it one of the toughest fruiting plants on the continent. Today, while modern palates may shy away from its bold, assertive flavor, chokecherry offers something increasingly rare: a fruit with deep cultural roots, unmatched hardiness, and a proven role in sustainable food systems. Rediscovering chokecherry means reconnecting with the plant that fed people reliably for thousands of years. 6. Buffalo berry. Buffalo berry is another powerful yet largely forgotten native fruit that once played a crucial role in indigenous diets, especially in the harsh, arid landscapes of the Great Plains and northern regions. These small, bright red berries grow on thorny shrubs that thrive where few other fruiting plants can survive. Dry soils, intense sun, strong winds, and limited rainfall. In environments that appear barren, buffalo berry quietly produces food. For indigenous foragers, buffalo berries were prized for both their nutrition and their versatility. They are exceptionally high in vitamin C, making them an important defense against illness, especially during long winters when fresh foods were scarce. The berries could be eaten fresh once fully ripe, but they were more commonly processed to reduce bitterness and improve storage. Drying allowed them to be kept for extended periods, while cooking transformed their sharp flavor into something rich and satisfying. One of the most fascinating traditional uses of buffalo berry is the creation of a dish often referred to as Indian ice cream. When ripe buffalo berries are whipped vigorously with water, they produce a thick pink foam, almost like a natural mousse. This happens because of compounds in the berries that act as natural foaming agents. Sweetened with other fruits or honey when available, this dish was both celebratory and nourishing, demonstrating an intimate understanding of the plant's unique properties. Beyond their value as food, buffalo berry shrubs actively improve the land around them. They are nitrogen fixers, meaning they enrich poor soils by adding nitrogen naturally, helping other plants grow nearby. This makes them not just a food source, but a regenerative species, one that restores ecosystems while feeding people. In today's world where soil degradation, water scarcity, and climate extremes are becoming more common, buffalo berry stands out as a forgotten solution, hiding in plain sight. It requires little input, survives where modern crops fail, nourishes both people and land, and carries generations of traditional knowledge within it. Bringing buffalo berry back into our food systems isn't just about rediscovering a fruit. It's about rethinking resilience, sustainability, and how we coexist with the landscapes around us. 7. Mayhaw. Native to the southeastern United States, the mayhaw is a small, often overlooked tree that once played a vital role in seasonal foraging traditions. It naturally grows in wetlands, floodplains, and along slow-moving rivers and bayous, places where many fruit trees simply can't survive. In early spring, when winter stores were running low and fresh foods were scarce, mayhaw fruits ripened just in time to provide a much-needed source of nutrition and flavor. The fruit itself is small, round, and usually bright red when ripe, though some varieties lean orange or yellow. Fresh off the tree, mayhaws are sharply tart, almost mouth-puckering, which is exactly why they were so valued. That intense acidity made them perfect for preservation. Indigenous peoples and later settlers transformed mayhaws into jellies, syrups, sauces, and even medicinal tonics believed to support digestion and overall vitality. Mayhaw jelly in particular became legendary, clear, jewel-toned, and bursting with a bright, clean flavor that feels like spring captured in a jar. Beyond taste, mayhaws were prized for their reliability. These trees are extremely tolerant of flooding, heavy clay soils, and inconsistent conditions. While many modern fruit trees demand perfect drainage and constant care, mayhaws thrive in environments most gardeners consider problematic. They bloom early, often before many other fruit trees awaken, and their flowers support early-season pollinators when little else is available. Today, mayhaws remain largely a regional secret, known mainly in parts of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and eastern Texas. Commercial agriculture has largely ignored them, favoring fruits that ship well and fit global markets. Yet in an era of changing climate and increasingly unpredictable weather, the mayhaw's ability to flourish in wet, flood-prone landscapes makes it more relevant than ever. Reviving this forgotten fruit isn't just about nostalgia. It's about rediscovering a perfectly adapted, resilient food source hiding in plain sight. 8. Elderberry. Elderberry is one of the most powerful and culturally significant native fruits ever foraged, yet for generations it quietly faded from everyday use. Indigenous peoples across North America relied heavily on elderberries, not only as a food source, but as a cornerstone of traditional medicine. The deep purple berries were never eaten raw. Instead, they were carefully cooked into syrups, wines, preserves, and decoctions. The creamy white flowers were equally valuable, brewed into teas or fermented into refreshing drinks. What made elderberry so important was its medicinal strength. Long before modern science, foragers understood that elderberries supported the immune system, especially during cold and flu seasons. Today, research confirms what tradition already knew. Elderberries are rich in antioxidants, flavonoids, and antiviral compounds that help the body fight infections and inflammation. In many communities, elderberry syrup was a household remedy passed down through generations. From a growing perspective, elderberry is remarkably forgiving. These shrubs grow fast, spread readily, and tolerate a wide range of conditions, from damp soils to dry edges, from full sun to partial shade. They don't demand pristine soil or constant attention, yet they reward growers with heavy clusters of berries year after year. Even neglected plants can produce abundantly, making elderberry one of the most generous fruits nature offers. Elderberries also play an important ecological role. Their flowers attract pollinators, their berries feed birds and wildlife, and their dense growth helps stabilize soil along streams and slopes. In traditional landscapes, elderberry was never just a fruit. It was part of a living system that supported people, animals, and land alike. While elderberry has begun to re-enter modern awareness through health supplements and herbal products, it's still far from reclaiming its former place as a household staple. Many people buy elderberry extracts without realizing how easy it is to grow, harvest, and prepare at home. Bringing elderberry back into everyday use means reconnecting with a plant that embodies resilience, self-sufficiency, and the deep wisdom of native foraging traditions. Together, mayhaw and elderberry remind us that some of the most powerful foods don't come from distant places or supermarket shelves, but from landscapes that have sustained people for centuries, quietly waiting to be remembered again.